Hi guys, feel free to like and subscribe if you're getting something out of this content. And if you're interested in private coaching, go to www.coachkat.org. That's cat with a K. What I'm going to talk about in this video is narcissism and their communication styles and how they may differ from sort of neurotypicals. When you're trying to communicate with another human being, most people's goal is to try to understand each other better, right? We're trying to compromise, meet in the middle, resolve conflict. We're trying to get our needs met, but we're trying to do it in a way where the other person can understand what our needs are and they can meet them, or we can understand what their needs are and we can try to meet them. We're trying to understand each other. And in order to do that, we have to listen to the other person and understand where they're coming from. That is the normal goal of normal, healthy people. We make this assumption that other people share those goals, to meet in the middle, to go from point A to point B, to have conflict resolution, and to, do better in the future, right? Not so with the narcissist. Their goals are very different. Their goals are to uphold their mask, maintain their superiority over you. Their goal is to maintain power and control. So they don't see things the same way. They are, these people, they don't play fair. They're not really interested in understanding or listening. They actually don't want to see your point of view. That is not their goal. Again, they're not seeking to understand. Essentially, I think Lisa Romano talks about they're arguing in bad faith, right? They're not coming from a place of good faith. They tend to, some of the tactics they use to maintain this control is to deny your reality by gaslighting. You didn't hear what you heard. You didn't see what you saw. That's not what happened. That's not what I meant. That's not what I said, right? So they make you question your reality. The goal there is to keep the upper hand, to keep you confused, to keep you walking on eggshells. They really want you to be insecure in this relationship. They don't ever want you to feel secure and confident and like what normal people want. That's not what they want. They want to uphold their image of superiority. You're inferior, they are superior. They tend to reinvent history. They will reframe the narrative. They will recreate history. They will make up stories. And if they're really high on the sort of covert narcissist or sociopathic scale, they can be really good at this. That was not my intention, or that's not, I didn't say that. That's not what I meant. Really, really recreate history. So you're left going, oh, maybe that's not what happened, or maybe they didn't say that. They can be very crafty in how they sort of present this material. So you can really second guess yourself and if you're in relationship with them. The goal for them is to create confusion and chaos, and for you to keep in confusion and to not understand and to not feel secure and to not trust your own self, right? They want you to trust their words over your intuition, over the truth. They're not interested in seeking truth. These are not truth seekers, right? And they do not want to accept any personal responsibility. They use projection and deflection to get rid of any personal responsibility. Again, it's all about maintaining power and control. They want to control your perception of them and the world's perception of them. So they are all about upholding this mask of perfection and superiority. They will deflect. The goal of deflection is to keep you confused, off track. They don't want resolution. They do not want to accept any personal responsibility. Often these people will not answer direct questions, especially if they're the covert narcissist. They'll just stare at you and blink, or they'll change the subject, or they'll try to argue or make you second guess your reality. They want you to accept all the blame. They want to keep you underneath them. They do not want to accept any responsibility. They want you to accept the blame. They want you to accept the responsibility for making the relationship work. They use word salad communication. Can be totally crazy making, where they're distorting reality. They're distorting the facts. They're making things up, crazy making chaos. Now, they can do this in a very subtle, covert, passive aggressive way. If they're the covert narcissist or the sociopath, if they're the overt, they can be much less sophisticated at this, but where you're just walking out of there going, what just happened? Or you'll be bringing up one subject that's really important to you, and then all of a sudden you find yourself discussing something totally different where you're to blame. They're all about putting the blame, putting the responsibility back on the other person. These are not people that will come to you and say, hey, I'm really sorry that I did X, Y, and Z. I know I did this specific thing to harm you. Is there anything else that you need to tell me that I did to harm you? What can I do to make amends and set it right? I'm so sorry. I'm deeply apologetic. You will never, ever hear that from a narcissist. Unless they're, unless they're losing their supply and they're trying to win to get you back. Because they can't, their ego won't even let them do that. It won't let them make a proper, heartfelt, sincere amends. Sometimes they'll apologize with a motivation of trying to get you back or to manipulate you, but it's not heartfelt, it's not sincere, it's not authentic. Again, they want to throw you off track. They want to make you feel insecure and to maintain their position of superiority. And they're not interested in conflict resolution. That's not their goal. It's normal, healthy people's goal. It's not their goal. To deeply understand their partner. They don't really want to deeply understand anyone. All their relationships are surface and shallow. They don't really want to understand anyone. They don't understand themselves. They're not interested in that kind of emotional intimacy. If you try to talk to them about your feelings will be dismissed, demeaned. They will minimize your feelings. They will make you feel like you're just overly emotional. You're so sensitive. You're so sensitive for having normal human emotions. Like you're just ridiculous for having these things that we call feelings. And, from a narcissist or sociopath perspective, it's probably, I can see why, because they don't really have feelings much. So if you're dead inside and you don't have any feelings, it is probably very difficult to understand the world of humans with actual feelings. I can imagine it would be quite perplexing. They take everything personally. They're hypersensitive, which is so funny because they don't acknowledge anyone else's right to feelings, but then they have this weird hypersensitivity. But it's not true depth of feeling. It's just, hypersensitive to anything that's perceived as criticism. And again, a lot of times it's perceived criticism. It's not even real. You're just coming to them saying, hey, I have this need. Can you meet it? What can we do to make this relationship better? Your goal is to make the relationship better. You're seeking to understand. Again, not so with the narcissist. They really are interested in making you second guess yourself, to not trust yourself, to not trust your intuition. I call it my God consciousness. Everything with them, again, it goes back to their impetus in relationships is to maintain power, dominance, control, and to control the perception that you have of them and the world has of them. It's to uphold their mask. They want you to lose confidence in yourself. They want you to second guess yourself. They want you to not trust yourself, because if you're constantly in a state of confusion, not trusting yourself, not trusting anything, then they get to maintain their power and they get to do whatever they want with their secret hidden life and keep it on the down low. And if you're coming from a place where you have codependent traits of people pleasing and maybe low self-esteem, you might not trust yourself. And this makes you sort of already kibble for the narcissist. You might have this proclivity to already ignore how you feel or to minimize your feelings and not trust yourself. And so, to a narcissist, that's just like a delicious treat, because that feeds into their idea that they're superior, they're the holders of information, they're the ones that have the knowledge, you're the idiot. And if you're a codependent, you're like, well, maybe I don't know, maybe I can't trust myself. And that's part of really working on that codependence and learning how to trust your intuition, how to trust yourself, and how to believe in your own self and not relegate the, don't let a narcissist tell you how to feel about you. No, they're not equipped. Truly, these people are not truly confident people. I know that that's how they come across, but that's not how they really are. Their whole thing is deep-seated insecurities that they have sort of relegated to this little tiny place inside where they've disowned it, but they have that. So going to them to tell you how to feel about yourself when they have this core of self-loathing, not exactly the person to go to try to check in on how you should be feeling about yourself. That's your job. Start feeling good about yourself no matter what the F anyone else thinks about you. Seriously. They really want you to feel like the crazy one. They want you to not trust yourself. And again, the codependent already tends to have a negative self-image, and they typically come from this place of not being good enough. The narcissist comes from this overinflated sense of self. And again, this is false, but they're not likely in touch with the truth that this is a falsity, that this is a mask that was created a long time ago when they were little kids to hide their deep-seated insecurities. At the core, these people are far less secure really than codependents, but they put on a show for the world and perhaps even for themselves. I feel like narcissism is this like deep self-deception, right? But with codependence, at least you're willing to look at this stuff and do some work around it, which means that you are going to heal if you decide to heal, and you start trusting yourself and you start making decisions that are self-honoring, which means you walk away from toxic people. Once you start seeing red flags, you hightail it out of there. Like, you don't deserve to be treated with disrespect or to be in the inferior position just because somebody else needs to feel superior. And you're not food for some disordered person's ego. Like, start saying to yourself, like, I'm not going to be a milkshake for, a predator. Like, no, I'm not your milkshake. I'm not your hamburger. I'm not your burrito. Like, no, I'm not going to be that for you. Like, start believing in yourself. And I feel like the more you set healthy boundaries, the more you say to yourself, you know what? This person feels toxic to me. I don't need a dossier on why. I don't need to hire a private detective to tell me this person is toxic. When I see those red flags, I can just exit the situation because this is not working for me. This person is not willing to engage in a mutually reciprocal, healthy form of communication to resolve conflict and to build a beautiful, lasting relationship. They're just not. And I can see because actions are not matching words. They say this, they do this, or they're not respecting my boundaries. Or when I set a boundary or I say no, they manipulate or push back or try to push on the boundary. They don't accept no for an answer because how dare anyone tell them no? Like, if you're starting to see like signs like that are toxic, you get to walk away. And again, you don't have to have a huge file cabinet of everything they've done wrong to validate that right to walk away. Like, I get to choose who I allow in my life. I get to choose who I'm around. And so when I'm, see signs of toxicity, I get to say, sayonara, dude, or lady. But this is just some of the communication styles that you might see with a narcissist where, they may just look at you and blink. They don't answer direct questions. They act passive aggressive. They use deflection. They use projection, like all these very unhealthy, toxic communication strategies where you walk away in a state of confusion. Anytime you're communicating with somebody and you're walking away in a constant state of confusion and you're like, what just happened there? That is something to look at. That is not healthy communication. Healthy communication looks very different than that. So thanks so much. And I hope you guys got something out of this video, and I hope you are thriving and engaging in radical self-care. Bye-bye.